give how much you sold. If you playing on radio, are you connecting? Picasso is dead. Steve Jobs is dead. Walt Disney is dead. Name somebody living that you can name in the same breath as them.
Today's videos are back-to-back, ace tanker games. In the Tier 6 American light tank, the T37, XVM says we have 41% chance of winning this, but let's do our best to carry this anyway. If you're interested in the T37, I will leave a link in the description of a review and setup of this tank. Okay, back to the game. Firstly, I will try to fulfill my obligation as a scout tank, and try to get the early lights for the team, and maybe have a clue to what the enemy is doing. I will try to spot from the nearest bush in the middle. This is a relatively conservative and safe position, but the overly aggressive Type 64 on the enemy team has spotted me in his advanced position. I waste no time and back out. I must make a run to safety, and at the same time, drive erratically, to put off the artillery that will try to shoot me. Being the first person to be spotted by the enemy, you must assume that all guns will be pointing in your general direction. You must not drive in a predictable path, and avoid getting stuck or hitting any objects that will slow or stop you. At this point, I will move to my secondary position, which is to support the east flank. The extent of my support will depend on how many of my teammates will be there. I take a close look at the mini-map, and I see a Cromwell, an M5 Stuart, and a Stug 3, making their way there. This means, we are light on firepower, and light on armor. Our combined health pool is 2120. This means we could be easily overrun if the enemy team has their forces concentrated on this flank. This is the furthest position I will commit to at the moment, because I still don't know where the main enemy forces are. Staying on the top shelf gives me more options to defend a top flanking maneuver, and also an easier escape route, in case we get rushed. It is also a good thing that the Cromwell didn't go any further, as I wouldn't have been able to support him if he did. With the Stug dead, it leaves the three of us here. Looks like the Wolverine will come over to support. We will definitely get rushed, so I'm preparing myself to be in a hull-down position when that happens. I am keeping an eye on the corner where the M5 and Cromwell are, and also the ridge where the Type 64 seems to be poking. When I stop them from coming over the top, this forces them to all come around the same way, making it easier for our team to defend. So, the Chateau is trying to flank the long way. This Chateau will be my priority, as I want the Cromwell and M5 to focus on the front. The less they turn their turrets, the more effective they will be. I might have done better to stay on the Chateau here, but I didn't want to risk any damage. In hindsight, I should have kept the Chateau engaged and finished him off sooner. This would have prevented the Cromwell from dying. I was expecting the Chateau to come after me, but instead he tried to kill the Cromwell. My bad. Come to think of it, I would have done the same thing. I rushed down to help the Cromwell, but he has taken too much damage now, and the situation becomes precarious. We lost the Wolverine some time ago, and it's just the two of us now. There's a Tiger and 64 that we know of. I missed the shot on the 64. I go for the lower plate, but because he was moving I end up shooting the angled side of the heavy tank, making it ricochet. I should have just continued forward instead of hesitating. Again, I might have prevented the Cromwell from losing HP for the second time. This time, it was fatal. I finish off the Type 64 and then retreat to safety, and to reassess the situation on the mini-map. I realize that everyone has been spotted, except for the 3 artillery pieces, but we can assume they are somewhere near their base. I make my way towards their base via the 7 line, all the while remaining cautious during my approach. I spot the first arty, so I'll try to take him out. I could have switched to HE shells, but I already had AP loaded, and since I have to shoot him twice anyway, I didn't bother changing. He got away, and I spot the second arty. This time I will load HE, because I might shoot a third arty too. The problem with HE, it can be troll, sometimes doing 20 damage. I think the best time to use it is when you have a stationary target, and you have a sure shot. We have clearly won the game. Now it's just clean up time, slowly chip at the enemy and wear them down. I still have full HP, I should have given some up to save the crumble, it could have been crucial. But as it stands, we will win this comfortably, and with HP to spare I can take a few shots to do it. I am shooting a PCR ammo at the Panther, although I don't really need to. I must take into account that he is at a fair distance and he is moving. A PCR in this situation gives me a better chance of hitting my target and penetrating it. The increased velocity of the shells means I don't have to lead my shot too far, and the increased penetration of a PCR shells means I will likely damage him even if I hit any angled armor.
Three days later.
In our next Ace Tanker game, we are in Erlenberg North Spawn. The enemy have 6 more heavy tanks than us, so we have to be super careful. We can possibly survive 2 to 3 hits from heavies, that means there is no room for error. As usual, go for the early spot. This T-34 isn't helping by firing right behind me. I need someone to shoot this 121, as I want to stay undetected. Unfortunately, my team are not in position to shoot. I get spotted, and have to run away. Feeling fairly safe, I will now return for a second crack at it. I will play very cautiously, keeping in mind the overwhelming heavy advantage that the enemy team has. I move away from my position as soon as I am spotted just to be on the safe side. I try to anticipate the position of the 121, and when I find him, I track him, and try to get shots on him. Keep adjusting and relocating to find the shot. Sometimes you can get around angles and corners just by repositioning yourself. Now I have a shot at the 121, I will take him out, and I am prepared to trade 3 shots for 1. Unfortunately, I left him with 12 hit points, and he manages to take a second shot at me. In hindsight, I might have done better with HE rounds, at least with my second and third shots. I've now lost a third of my health, so I am even more apprehensive. I decide to stay here and try to support the T-34 on the 1 line. Keep an eye out for what you can shoot, and don't bother shooting if you know you can't damage them like turrets of IS-3s.
Enemy armor is hit. Penetration.
I am lucky, I take no damage. I save my repair kit because I think I have backed up enough to be safe. But I was wrong. The hidden Skoda was the one firing from higher ground, and not the T-150. I get hit for 93 HP. I also get my loader taken out, so I'll have to fix him too. Unfortunately, I can no longer stay on the high ground and help the Challenger. I have to stay lower to avoid the Skoda. I try to support the Mutts for as long as I can. It looks like we are going to be overrun. They simply have too many heavies for us. The Mutts has been doing a great job keeping the heavies at bay, but I think the enemies have now realized their advantage and will soon rush the Challenger and Mutts. I make a mistake here, choosing the wrong angle. When it is clear that the heavies were in the castle, I could have killed maybe one or two of them if I had thought it out properly. I relocate to support my retreating teammates. I must try to help as much as I can, and also be in a position where I can run away should the enemy start charging me down. I have shot on this T-34. I must try to damage him as much as possible. I have to leave once I am spotted. He can potentially one-shot me. I decide to leave, so to the Mutts. Looks like every man for himself now. The Challenger is now on his own, and we have left him for dead. Even if your teammates have left you for dead, you must do as much damage as possible, right to the very end, because every bit of damage counts, especially in close games, like how this one is going to be. I shoot as much as I can, while they are still spotted, because as soon as they become hidden again, I have to run away.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
I get upset at the Cromwell for capping and not helping me, but in hindsight, it was probably better, because the cap drew the heavies away from me and back to their base. Sorry Cromwell, I was frustrated and I took it out on you, my bad. I also could have stopped here and sniped the T-150 before he got to Artie. Again, mistakes were made.
Penetration. Penetration. Got him. We didn't even scratch them. Enemy armor is hit. Penetration.
It's tricky, trying to take on 3 heavy tanks. I cannot get shot no matter what, so I can only use my superior camouflage and vision to try and wear them down by chipping slowly at them. Getting across to the other side is probably the best way, taking on the lower health heavies and leaving the healthy one for last. The Cromwell is in a bad position. I think the furthest he should have gone is the bushes near the cap, where he could have sniped and then safely got away from that T-34. The IS-3 is spotted, and I have no choice but to fight him frontally. I must try to duke a shot, and I must damage him with 3. He misses his first shot. Now I must make my shots count. He would have done better to just charge me instead of backing up. Now he has no gun depression. I take advantage and shoot his weak spot. By the time he comes down to get me, I am already reloaded to kill him. The cap is started. I must hurry to kill the T-32 and rush back to kill the T-34. I expected him to be in his last known position, or following the IS 3 inches support. I have a PCR loaded and ready for him.
Enemy armor is destroyed. Penetration.
Unfortunately, time and APCR have run out, but we gave it a good run, doing nearly 2,200 damage and earning 12,000 WN8 in the process. I only needed a bit more time to wear the T-34 down.